Here are three reasons why I'm still buying Bittensor's native cryptocurrency called Tau, even though nothing I say is financial advice. But reason number one is because I think the room for growth isn't bad. It's not the greatest, but I think it's not bad. Let me explain why. Because if, let's say, Tau were to go to the price of $10,000, now at that point, that's around a 20x from here. I get it, it's not a 50x, 100x. I'm totally aware of that. But it doesn't seem so bad because hypothetically, if I were to put $1,000 into Tau right now, and let's say it were to go to the price of $10,000, now at that point, that $1,000 is worth around 20 grand. Now let's say we even tone things down a bit. Let's say Tau goes to the price of $5,000, still around a 10x from here. I don't think it's that bad because, in my opinion, really at least a 10x, that's already very good by many people's standards, hypothetically, in my opinion, including mine. However, of course, if projects could do a lot better than that, then why not, right? But this is just my mindset. Now, even besides that, people may be thinking, oh man, if you kind of like upside, why don't you go into a microcap? Now, here's the thing. When it comes to Tau, what I like about it is that it's not so low in market cap to the point that it feels a little bit risky, like, some random microcap that we don't know is ever going to do well or not. However, on the flip side, it's not like a Bitcoin or Ethereum where it kind of feels like a little bit like a dinosaur. I mean, let's just put some perspective into this. Let's say Bitcoin were to go to the price of $300,000. Many people think that's like a most bullish case scenario for this bull run. Now, even at that point, it's slightly less than a 3x from here. Let's just say around a 3x for simplicity's sake. But really, what would have an easier time doing a 3x, let's say? Is it Tau or is it something like, Bitcoin? Hypothetically, I think something like Tau because the market cap required wouldn't be too, high. At least that's the way I view it. Not to mention as well, I get it, there's a lot of competition as of right now when it comes to these projects that are focused on AI, but I do believe that when it comes to Bittensor, it has this grip in the space that, in a sense, where it kind of feels like a very established project. Because usually when I ask people about projects that are focused on AI, many people will say, oh, it's something like ASI or like it's something like Bittensor or EOS. Bittensor is often mentioned as one of the top 5 projects within this space. And I do like that. The brand recognition is good. That's the analogy I would put on it. And Tau is listed in very decent exchanges. Could it be better? Hypothetically, but you know what? It's really good anyways. Not to mention, I think Bittensor has a very strong and passionate community. It's a no-brainer for me. I believe in something like Bittensor, and I believe that hypothetically its future could be so bright. Now, this actually brings me to my second reason as to why I'm still buying Tau, and that is because I do love its fundamentals a lot, and I think something like this could very well contribute to Tau hypothetically going to the price of $10,000. Now, let me explain the fundamentals of Bittensor, because if we take a look at it, Bittensor has been stated as a decentralized blockchain network acting as a peer-to-peer ecosystem for creating, training, sharing, and trading AI and machine learning models. Now, we have to break this down, right? Why is this amazing? It's because, quite simply put, Bittensor is focused on 2 markets, machine learning and AI. And let me talk about machine learning first, because a lot of people are very excited about AI, but when it comes to machine learning, it's often overlooked, but I don't think it's bad. Now, again, my rationale is because if we take a look at it, the global machine learning market size is expected to be worth over $200 billion by 2029, according to Fortune Business Insights. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, like that's still years away at this point, but really in the world of cryptocurrencies, people typically care about the story, they care about the narrative, they care about what something could be moving forward. And a lot of people, they do love projects that are focused on emerging markets. And I think something like this is because if you take a look at it, many projects out there, they're not really focused on machine learning. Like it's not something that's really like mainstream, right? It's not like someone is, from what I've noticed, at least from a lot of people, it's not like they're going into the world of cryptocurrencies and they're saying, oh yeah, you know what? We're going to believe in a project that's focused on machine learning. I've never seen that ever, but I've seen many people say, hey, you know what? We're going to enter the world of cryptocurrencies due to the AI projects. We hear that often. I hear that often, right? But then when it comes to machine learning, haven't heard it at all. It can, of course, be different in a case-by-case scenario, but I haven't heard that. So then when it comes to this, I like how Bittensor isn't just, kind of promoting themselves as a project that's like only focused on AI and nothing else. I like that. It shows that, they have more of a diversity. It shows that they have like more tools in their arsenal, if that makes sense, like more tools in the toolbox. But even besides that, now let's talk about AI, because when it comes to AI, I get it. The hype as of right now, even though we're seeing a lot of projects out there have a pretty decent recovery, it hasn't been the same as like what we saw before we had the pullback, right? It hasn't been kind of the same, but I think it could be very different. And I think hypothetically, once the boron really picks up in a massive way, especially for altcoins, I think the hype could be even bigger than before. Let me explain why. Because the AI market, according to Grandview Research, is expected to reach nearly $2 trillion in value by 2030. That's a very massive amount right there. Again, nearly $2 trillion. That's bigger than a lot of countries' GDP. And again, when people take a look at a market like that, I think it's only fair to assume that given the narrative that people as of right now usually look for emerging markets and markets that could be amazing, I think considering that, I think that especially once the altcoin season is in fully fifth gear, the narrative for AI could be so amazing. But it's just a matter of time, really. And also, again, like I mentioned earlier on the video, Bittensor is one of the premier projects that are focused on AI. Now, some people out there may be thinking, oh yeah, but Bittensor is not cool or interesting. Well, yeah, it's not a meme coin, but for what it is, I do like it. Not to mention as well, when it comes to Bittensor, it has been stated that it's a decentralized marketplace that brings together providers and consumers of machine learning algorithms and models. And again, it's just a bunch of fancy words, but really, if I take a look at Bittensor, to put it very simply, because of course, I could go into a lot of random details, but it's just really boring and no one really cares, right? Like 99% of people that I know pretty much who believes in Bittensor, they only care about two things. Mostly even just one thing, right? AI, and the second thing being machine learning. So if you think about that, really that's all I need to know when it comes to Bittensor. Focus on AI, that's amazing. Focus on machine learning, it's a good bonus. That's the way to take a look at it. But again, I think fundamentals are rock solid, and I don't want to miss out on something like this because I think it's fantastic. And now some people may be wondering how soon. Now, this really depends on many scenarios, but if we take a look at it historically speaking, usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. So basically around a year and a half. Now, when did the last Bitcoin halving event happen? Happened in April of 2024. So that's last year. Now, 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. But some people may be thinking, okay, history isn't always going to repeat itself. I'm totally aware of that. There's no exact way to tell because how can I tell the future? I can only take a look into the past and I can take a look at the present, right? But I can't take a look into the future. But what I'm seeing as of right now, it kind of makes sense a little bit actually, because take a look at the trajectory that Bitcoin is heading. Take a look at the pretty good recovery that we're seeing many altcoins as of right now have. I think if we see this prolonged, recovery and eventually, fifth gear type of altcoin season, I don't see why that date wouldn't really make sense because it's like far enough to the point that the market can still have time to gain more attention. But then at the same time, it's not like too far and it's not like 2 years away. You know what I mean? So I do like this. Not to mention, some people may be thinking, oh, this boron can't look as good as 2021. Well, why not? Well, in the peak of the 2021 boron, just think about this. During that time, around 300 million crypto owners, again, during the peak of that, like during the most euphoric times, right? Around 300 million, which was very impressive actually at that time. But now we have over 600 million. But the crazy thing is this. Even though we have over 600 million, according to Crypto.com research, again, in terms of crypto owners, we have never seen Bitcoin, at least at the time of this recording, reach $150,000 yet. We have never seen, something like Ethereum reach like $10,000, right? Imagine a Bitcoin, let's say, goes to $200,000-$300,000. Ethereum reaches 10,000. Now, would the amount of crypto owners be like only around 600 million? Or would there be like, 700, 800 million? That really wouldn't surprise me. So I think that's actually very fantastic how now we have so many crypto owners, despite never really seeing like a euphoric type of altcoin season like we saw back in 2021, despite never seeing Bitcoin reach $200,000 even, right? Or 150,000. So I think that's very good considering the current conditions. So I think that if anything, again, I think showcases that, conviction when it comes to cryptocurrencies could be argued as being very fantastic as of right now and arguably way better than 2021. Because take a look at the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF. I mean, it's all just really wonderful as of right now. And I think that it's just a waiting game at this point, and I'm going to stay patient. Anytime earn income, acquire, hold, and I just wait. That's it, because Tau, at the price of $10,000, wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And those are 3 reasons why I'm buying Tau. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace.